Gary Smits and then John Shipley for the first two.
Hey, Doug, I know we're going to get to this eventually, but can you give us a injury update as far as Brandon and Andrew, and then are you going to have to bring in some kickers and try them out in the next week or so?
Yeah, I think Andrew's going to go out there Monday. When we get back out on the field Monday, so he's going to get back out there and see if he can play through it. So that's what we'll be with him Monday. We'll know a little bit more then. That's Wingard, and then Linder will be out there Monday. So I feel good about that. Just trying a couple of different things. Just seeing where he's at. So I feel good about that. DJ, we're just really waiting for some tests, and once those tests clear, what he has to do, then he's fine. So that's what we're waiting on with him. Leon's obviously out for the year. He'll be on IR. Brandon Wright has a groin, so yes, we're going to bring in kickers on Monday to look at where we are there, and I think that's all of it.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks, Smitter. Let's go over to John Shipley and then to Hayes.
Hey, Coach. Just speaking, about DJ, can you talk a little bit about really the impact of not having him on the field and how that kind of makes Miami's defense view you guys last night?
Yeah, I don't want to not credit Miami. They did a nice job, obviously, but I think anytime you lose someone that's leader and just a really good football player, and someone where, and people are going to look at us and say, hey, listen, how do we stop this guy? I think it always hurts, but that, and then you get the old, hey, we want people to step up and do a better job, and kind of make up for it where, I don't know. I mean, we didn't make the plays that we needed to, last night. There's a lot of things that I'll be able to talk about or questions I'll be able to answer. But it always hurts when you lose, the top player at your position, whether it be Brandon at center, what I'm saying? But, teams do it, and it happens out, throughout the league, and you just got to, you got to be able to overcome those things. And I just felt like we didn't really, have an opportunity to really help our guys because of we got, the way the game was being played, how we got down early.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Shipley. Let's do Hayes and then D-Rock.
Doug, what have you identified as the biggest problem you're facing defensively right now?
Yeah, I think there's a point where you can watch during a game where we start to settle down. I think, there seems to be, technically, there's technique things. There's just some eyes and focus, and just to a point of going out there and really being technically sound, fundamentally sound, and not kind of just be so locked in, with some of these guys that that you can't react to things. And I think that we talked about it this morning, talked a little about it last night, watched the film again, talked about it this morning, and we just got to be able to get them out there and put them in a position where they can do those things. And they do it during the week, but it seems to be on all of us that we've just got to do a better job early on. It's just you can see as the game goes on, and this has been going on now for a couple of weeks, as the game goes on, you can see where now all of a sudden it's starting to play the way we want them to play from the beginning. So we just got to be able to get them off to that start, and we're going to discuss that when we all get together.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Hayes. Let's go D-Rock, Mia, then John Reed.
Doug, are you guys kind of hamstrung a little bit in terms of trying to get pressure and blitzing because you've got some youth issues and injury issues in the secondary, and you don't want to leave those guys kind of out there on their own?
Well, I think when you look at it, a lot of the passes, are not really getting behind us, from a standpoint of, over the top throws. Most of these throws are, they're in this, under, 12, 13 yard radius. So I think it's a combination of we've got to do a couple of, things better. And it's more, I feel comfortable because they're more technique, fundamental things that we need to do to disrupt, the passing game and try to do a better job there. So I see it, as that. I think that, I think last night, we pressured quite a bit, but you could see at times, when max protection comes in play, now all of a sudden, and you're not getting to the quarterback, and it's a long time, and it's tough for us to run with some of these guys or some of these bigger guys. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. So we've got to just keep working to improve fundamentally first. Guys are. We're in position, but we haven't defended, many balls. We haven't in the last two games, we've got to get our hands on more balls. In the first game we did, in the last two we haven't at all. So those are the things that we're looking at and trying to improve upon.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, D-Rock. Let's go over to Mia and then John Reed.
Hey, Doug, towards the end of the game, real quick, first and foremost, Keelan kind of grabbed his wrist. Just curious if he's okay. Any update you may have on him?
Yep, he's okay. He's good.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We're happy to hear that.
Yep.
Second thing, Gardner obviously struggled with the deep ball last night. They did a good job defending it. A lot of people are comparing last night's game and the defense the Dolphins played to the Saints game last year, where Gardner also struggled and you guys struggled to put points on the board. I'm just curious if you saw a correlation there, and how do you guys counter that when a defense throws it at him and this offense?
No, I think it's really just a matter of you're trying to get chunks. You're trying to create chunk plays. I think that when you feel the pressure of trying to be able to score to get yourself back into a game, you're going to look downfield. And then as the time, like later in the game, as the clock starts to go down, you start to realize that, hey, listen, we've got to go and try to get a chunk play somewhere. So, and it's tough. I mean, every defense that you face is going to make sure that, you don't get the ball behind them. I mean, that's, the fastest way to score. So, I just think that, I think, he was looking for those things, and I think Miami did a good job of disrupting routes early on, getting their hands on us. There was a lot of, they had a couple, they did a nice job, some 3-man rushes with 8 guys dropping, which is always difficult on any quarterback, but they mixed it up pretty good, with the coverages. So I think it was more, I look at, where we were offensively as far as not being able to play the type of game where, hey, we got the play action, we got the running game, we got, screen game, intermediate pass, taking our shots when we want to. A lot of it, was forced to, try to get the ball vertically down the field against a team that's defending the ball vertically down the field.
Thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Thank you, Mia. Let's go John Reed and Mark Long.
Hey, Coach.
Yep, I got you, John.
How you doing?
Good.
Do you feel you have to get the ball? I know that Laviska is a rookie and James Robinson is a rookie, but with the teams blitzing as much as Miami did up the middle and those kind of things, do you think you have to get the ball a little bit more to those guys since they've shown to be explosive over the 3 games?
I like getting the ball to those guys because I think Cole's playing really well for us right now. I think Laviska shows what he can do after the catch. Obviously James we've seen. Like to see Colin, do some things for us on the outside. We know about Chris and we know about DJ. So to answer your question, yeah, I think we would like to do that. Teams are giving us a lot of, creating a lot of one-on-ones for us up front. I think overall, we started out in pretty good shape, and then, we got then all of a sudden we get on, one of those back-to-back things where we have two poor plays in a row that lead to back-to-back. So, I think those guys can make plays. How we get them the ball is important. I think it's schematically it's a little bit easier when it's a little bit tighter, you know what I'm saying? And you can play action and do things like that. Move them around, get them going. We do have all that stuff in our package. So I have no issues getting it to them. Those guys can make plays, and I like the way they are with yards after the catch. You're right. You know what I'm saying? These guys can, catch the ball in intermediate areas and break tackles. And I thought James has done a good job of that. And I think Laviska has done a good job of that.
One quick follow-up. Do you feel you have to bring more safety help over to help C.J. Henderson a little bit?
Well, I think, I think, I'm sure C.J. wants to play better. I think that we all want to play better. So I think it's a matter of just the fundamentals, day in and day out. Like, the one thing about what's always interesting to me, I haven't been in this thing for a while, is that, that corner position, you go lights out for 60 something plays to maybe defend 4 balls. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know when they're coming. So, we just got to, do a better job on both sides of really disrupting some of these, receivers, because I think it's so difficult in this day and age, to, not hinder anything or not put pressure, or you can't move the quarterback. I mean, if someone's going to drop back and throw it, and that player is going to be, not disrupted in any way. I mean, it's seems like it's too easy now, you know what I'm saying? Whether it be our team doing it or against another team, or a team doing it against us. I think, when you look at plays that don't perform well or don't execute well, a lot of it, in the passing game is really, you're able to, disrupt something, disrupt the protection, disrupt the route, get your hands on a football. Those are the things that you have to be able to do to stop someone from throwing the football. So, right now we've tried a couple of things. I think we're settling into, what we have to do to work on to get better. I think, like I said, it's early, and just really starting to know what we got to do when we get on that field.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks,
Hey,
John.
Doug.
Let's do 3 final questions. Let's go Mark, Demetrius, and then Gene. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. Hey, Doug, just curious, after a night of reflection, how do you balance maybe your thought of not deferring the coin toss versus not giving up on your defense, or not appearing?
I don't know if it's not giving up. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say that. I think that, but I am looking at, potentially, taking the ball first. I think I'm going to have to, I'm going to try to get a peek at what's going on and seeing how we can settle these guys down more. So I think we're going to have these discussions, but it's not anything, Mark, that I'm looking at going, no, I would never do that. So it's definitely something that's on the table. I just want to, before I ever make a decision like that, I want to, I want to learn more about it. And even when I do make the decision, I always still talk about game day wins and things like that come into play, but it's definitely where before I've always been, defer. I think, now I think whatever can help our football team will do.
And then a couple, you touched on the back-to-back bad plays there. What did Gardner see that he checked to that 3rd and 5 run to the short side of the field? And then what was the miscommunication on the blitz on 4th down? The very next play, I think, where it looked like Norwell went right and left the guy come unblocked.
Yeah. The one thing, the first one was we knew we were going to have 2 downs to go for it. We really felt like we had a good play. We had everything sealed off on the inside, and then I believe it was 55. The linebacker jumped outside of Chris, so we actually had 2 players outside of him. So that's something that we haven't shown. So when we tossed the football, we had a player free, in the alley, because normally on alignment, one guy's going to be inside and one guy's on the outside. Well, we had the tackle for the outside guy, Jawan, but the backer wound up playing outside. So we had a guy outside. So, good play by them. I didn't see that. We didn't see that defense coming up. He just jumped outside for whatever reason, or else we would have had a good game. So we got out executed on that one. The next one was the right tackle has to come down. You know what I'm saying, and take the guy over where Andrew was. Andrew's coming down on the mug on the inside, and then a right tackle comes down, and we got to throw hot off of the defensive end. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Let's go to Demetrius and then finish with Gene.
Hey, Coach. Do you feel like the early leads the defense has been giving up has affected your offensive game plan? You're only able to run the ball 17 times, and James seemed to be doing well, but you ended up having to pass it a bunch more. Do you feel like the defense allowing the early leads has affected your offensive game plan at all?
I think this past game, it did. I don't think, in the other two, I didn't feel like it had. So I think anytime, whenever the one perspective I always have is that, when you're, it's the same probably perspective that you guys have. You're watching a game and you're feeling, you're like, oh, the momentum's going this way or going that way, and then hey, how do you gain it back? How do you do it? There's a lot. It just felt, just felt like chasing. And I think, I think what you want to do is you plan all week is to be in, a game that potentially could come down to the final drive, right? So, you want to be able to be in it to where you're able to use, all the tools that you have, and be able to run it, play action, boot, naked, whatever it is, and keep that going. And that's the other thing. Went back and you look at the third downs when you're coming out and you're having to throw, to push the ball down the field and score. Now your third downs, potentially could be longer than, if you're running the ball, getting 5 yards, and then maybe you get another 2 and it's 3rd and 3, the manageable situations, then your third down percentage is going to go up. And I think, conversely, when you look at what teams are doing to us, I think, in third and 1 to 6, I think, we're only winning 27% of the time. So, that's something that people are keeping the chains in their favor. And I think that's why we're struggling to get off the field defensively.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Demetrius. And let's go to Gene for the final question.
Hey, Doug. Apologize if this was asked like in the first 1 or 2 questions, but you mentioned how you're potentially looking at possibly taking the ball for kind of a little bit of potential change in strategy. On the same lines, what about in terms of generating more of a pass rush? Are you concerned that you may have to blitz more than you care to as a head coach? Or do you feel like, hey, let's give the younger guys some chance to develop here, get a few games under the belt, and then we'll see where we are on that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot into it. I think with the coin toss, we said yes. So we're looking at that. Whatever we can do to help the team, get off to a better start. So there's a lot of things that go into that, but it's not something that's off the table. As far as whether we want to receive it or defer. Right now it's on the table. We're talking about if that's something that's going to help the team, we'll do it. The next question is, I think, we pressured quite a bit, last night, on first down, second down, third down, all 3 downs. We've got to find a way to, obviously, disrupt, the quarterback. We got to find a way to get to it. I think, a lot of, there's some technique stuff that we need to, popping up a little bit, and, we're a little short, where we could have had a couple of sacks, but we didn't because we were kind of peaking a little bit. I think we've got to be able to disrupt in the back end, and get the quarterback not to feel comfortable, with non-contested type, routes and throws, which I know we can do a better job of that. But, going into it, it's, I think it's something that, we're going to discuss. I think, I've looked at, whether you bring 5, 6, 7, or 8, what I'm saying? Like, in other words, the percentages of plays and what happens and how it works. A lot of it's going to depend on matchups, who you have on the outside, how you feel about it. I think we'll continue to mix it up. I think we had, we had some good run stops with some of the pressures. You saw the safeties making plays off the corners. If it was play action, and hey, they'd be matched up on the back. We got it against the runs, which is fine. So I think there's a lot of things that you look at. Maybe where the guys are playing, who's rushing, and what positions. Are we putting enough pressure on the protection? Where maybe they don't know who's coming. You know what I'm saying? And bringing different guys, trying to look at some certain things like that. So right now, really everything's on the table because we're not doing what we like to do, you know what I'm saying, and put them in these tough situations. But again, it's difficult to it's easier when you're trying to push the ball down the field in 3rd and long, than when people are running, pivot routes and stick routes and pick, not picks, but, crossing routes. Where everything's a little bit underneath you, that ball's coming out a little bit quicker. And I think it all starts with, hey, listen, we got to do a whole lot better on 1st and 2nd down, you know what I'm saying, and get them into this 3rd and 7+, and then really get a good evaluation for what we have to do. And I think it's really both ends. It's we got to do a better job up front and in the back end, you know what I'm saying? So we all got to improve for us to do a better, to get the results that we want.
Thanks.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you for the time.
All right.
Hope everybody has a
Appreciate
great
it.
weekend. We'll be back on Monday.